I basically find myself vexed, confused. I just don't understand how we got to the place in this culture where we are today. I personally remember as a kid, a lot of people getting bullied and picked on, including myself, for all kinds of reasons. And it seemed like even the adults were okay with it. You go and tell me like, hey, your kid said this to me. I'm like, oh, well, you kind of deserved it. Look at your face. Yet somehow in like 40 years, we've gone from that to where we have this protected class in society where the rules that everyone plays by do not apply to them. There's no accountability if you can claim to be a part of some type of marginalized group. And if you can claim that you're a part of multiple marginalized groups, that means you get to be a bigger asshole and there's even less accountability for you. Today, I'm going to talk about just the worst person in the comic book industry, period. Obviously, I'm talking about T. Franklin, Black, queer, autistic, disabled, that somehow is an award-winning comic book writer without ever actually writing a good comic book. She just gets to be a complete asshole to anybody and then tell you it's time for you to fucking pay her. She actually gets to write a Harley Quinn series based on an HBO Max cartoon that's supposed to be important, right? None of it sells. No one likes the series whatsoever. What's the repercussions? What is the fallout for failing so hard? You get a sequel series to that. And she gets to work basically for all the major publishers, if you can even call them that, within the American comic book landscape, despite never actually writing a good comic book. And every single one of her comic books are basically the same story over and over and over again. It's minority, disabled, LGBTQ character rises up and is loved by everybody. Basically, all these characters are just stand-ins for T. Franklin. Hell, she even had a YouTube channel, and I think she might still have it right now. And on there, there's a video of her drunk and high at the same time, basically lambasting all these major writers at DC and Marvel, yet still gets hired. Half the time, she's just overtly racist on her social media accounts. No accountability there either. Can you imagine just a normal person like you and I, if we did any of these things, we would be ostracized from a community. We would be out of a job. We would be fired. We would be getting lawsuits. But if you're T. Franklin and you can claim that you're 5 different marginalized people all at the same exact time, you get to be the most horrible person in the world and people will just keep hiring you. I've got plenty of evidence to back this up. She went out and just made a complete ass of herself on May 9th, which isn't all that unusual, but just the sheer arrogance and asshole energy coming out of these tweets, I had to cover it here today. And I do want to say thank you to Comics Matter with your boy Zach. Without his community post, I would have no idea about this because I pretty much try to avoid social media, and I certainly try to avoid anything to do with T. Franklin, especially her comic books, but also her social media as well. This is the first tweet I got to talk about. I'd like to pitch to somewhere about the disability representation in Demon Slayer. Anyone looking for something similar or know where I can pitch this? I swear it don't matter what I post, someone got to piss on something I want to do. This is exactly why I'm done with this site. If you want to interact with me, you got to go to my Patreon. A metric ton of y'all are insufferable as shit. Just complain and do nothing for disabled people. Always want to pull an aha gotcha on me and hold me to standards you couldn't even reach. Complain about disabled representation 24/7, but you don't support people who are creating the disabled representation. Hypocrites, the lot of you. Either answer the question, boost my tweet, or fuck the hell off. That's what she ended up having to say about that. And if you look at the tweet like the original, 3 people replied to that tweet, and I think she's one of them. There was basically zero interaction with this tweet whatsoever. No one was having a gotcha moment there. I think she was trying to boost herself. There were a few retweets, but none of them with even comments or anything. So I don't even know where this came from. Now, there was one person that did try to interact with her and show some solidarity. And I guess they thought they could get some cool social media points or something by trying to interact with her. That doesn't go well. I'm going to cover that in a moment. And I'm going to shit on what you're saying here. Nobody associated with Demon Slayer would ever hire an absolute failure like T. Franklin, who's never written anything successful in any medium whatsoever. Now, I said one dipshit actually decided they wanted to interact and be like, yeah, you should do that. I can't believe that representation in Demon Slayer. It absolutely sucks. And this is what she had to say to respond to that. Do you know me? Do you know my brain? Do you speak for me? Do you write for me? You admitted you haven't seen much of the show, but you know the angle I'd take. Always a white person. It never fucking fails. I share pieces of me on here. Y'all don't even get half of my fucking life, but y'all fuckers swear you know me. We are not friends. Y'all are supporters and followers, and most don't be supporting. I am not an account. I am a fucking human. You will never speak for me. Stop acting like you fucking familiar, cuz you ain't. All I wanted to know if someone was looking for an anime pitch. Insufferable. If you are stupid enough to actually go out there and interact on social media with T. Franklin, you are the dipshit that deserved this response. What did you expect from this? Oh, and I love the abject racism in there. Just always a white person. Can you imagine if someone came onto my channel and had just like a complete dickhead remark? I pinned the motherfucker and I said, it's always a fucking black person, or it's always a Jewish person. I would lose my channel. And the whole, you don't know me. Like, what are you, fucking 12? That's what my little brother used to say when he had his like Tupac, only God can judge me poster in his room when he was like 13 years old. Adults just don't act like that. They don't treat other people like that. There is just a tiniest bit of common courtesy that normally you try to give to people, especially when you're T. Franklin and you're apparently broke, sitting in a shitty apartment, getting high all the fucking time. You probably could use all the supporters and money that you can actually get your hands on and talking about, we're not friends, you're supporters and followers. No one even interacts with you. They just go, wow, that lady really is fucking crazy. I wonder why DC would hire this person. I wonder why Warner Brothers would hire this person. I wonder why Marvel Comics would hire this person. Why would Archie want this person who's a complete asshole 24/7 to everybody that's always freaking out like a goddamn child associated with their brand? Well, it certainly has nothing to do with her personality. It has nothing to do with her talent. But she gets to just treat people like crap 24/7. And no, anime doesn't want anything to do with you. You got no anime pitches. They actually want to hire Japanese people with good stories to tell. Well, you don't check those boxes. I'm sorry, honey. Tweet number 3. Every time I want to do something for the disability community, I'm quickly reminded why I don't want to do shit for disabled community anymore. Never mind, I'll share it with my Patreon supporters instead of everyone. Yeah, there's like 3 people that are just like, oh, dang it. I really wanted to see what T was going to do for the disability community today. That was going to be amazing. But I got to go to the paid side over at Patreon? I guess I'll just have to miss out this time. No one's missing out on anything. That is the entire basis of your entire writing career. When's the last time you wrote anything for DC, Marvel, Archie, or anybody that didn't have a disabled character in a prominent role or being introduced for the first time with you writing it? It's literally the only superpower you have in the world. A lot of writers within comic books will claim marginalized status for things that you actually can't prove that they are. But most of them can't show up in an actual wheelchair with arm braces or something like that. So you're the one that they can put on the book when there's a disabled character and they want to cast a writer with the character as well, which for the most part is happening a lot within comic books these days. It's not the talent. It's not the good stories. Yet you continue to go out there not having a whole lot of support to begin with and just treating people like utter garbage. Eventually, you won't be the flavor of the day anymore. There's going to be another writer that comes along that's disabled and minority and LGBTQ that is actually going to be nice to people. That's actually going to be easy to work with. And then no one's ever going to hire you again because you are an absolute asshole to everybody. Who then, after you're an asshole to them, says, go to my fucking Patreon and give me money. I don't understand how humans can actually interact with other people like that. It's absolutely insane. I've talked to a lot of people that know T. Franklin personally, and I've never had a single one say, T. Franklin's nice. T. Franklin treated me with respect. T. Franklin is a hoot to be around. I really enjoy her company. Every person I've ever spoken to that has actually interacted with T. Franklin says that she is a horrible human being, and she goes out of her way to prove it basically on a daily basis on social media these days. And if you think she's smart, maybe she's really smart. Listen to this tweet. This is the last one. It has nothing to do with her being horrible, but it does have something to do with her being stupid. LA sex workers picketing with Writers Guild of America writers. As a sex worker and pre-Writers Guild of America writer, this is hot, hot, hot. But I hate to break it to T. Franklin and anyone that's doing this. One thing has nothing to do with the other. It's like comic book writers being like, yeah, I'm supporting the WGA strike, so I'm not going to work. Like, hey, genius, you're not in the WGA. That's an entirely different organization, a union of people that are working for their own benefit to get them better wages. If anything, this might actually be good for you and might create some opportunities for you to actually grow your brand or something like this. But they act like they're striking for us. You're not writing a fucking sitcom. You're not writing movies. You're sitting in the minor leagues, writing really bad comic books with no avenue to actually make money or anything meaningful with your life in the future. Like, it's the dumbest take I've ever seen in my life, but I'm glad she's taking it. I hope all the sex workers go on strike to show solidarity for the writers of Young Sheldon. If you need further proof that T. Franklin is not only a horrible human being, which I think I laid out pretty good here, is likely just really stupid, which I think I also proved that here, but she's also a terrible writer. She recently got to do a big story with the first disabled Spider-Man character. One of the worst written stories I've ever seen in my life. If you haven't seen this, you need to check it out right now and see for yourself just what a bad writer T. Franklin is. There's also a link in the video description.